We are back on this 2017 Hyundai Elantra that I bought for $3,000. The reason I bought it so cheap is because it was wrecked. It got rear-ended and pushed into another car, so a lot of damage in the back end and a little bit of damage in the front end. Last episode on this Hyundai, I did a lot of work to the rear end. I put it on my frame machine, got it pulled back enough to start tearing off that quarter panel along with the rear end and replacing it with a brand new one I got from a junkyard. A lot of cutting, a lot of spot welds, and a lot of lining up to make sure this thing is gonna go back and look perfect. After I got the quarter panel and rear end all back together, welded up, body work done, I went ahead and seam sealed it, got it all sanded down and prepped, and all that was painted. Also, I got a new trunk. It was a different color, so I went ahead and painted the inside so it would match the rest of the car. Also, I got a new front bumper and a new rear bumper. I went ahead and painted those at the same time. They have been outside for a week. I got a lot accomplished in the last episode on this Hyundai. And in this episode, we're gonna be finishing it up. This quarter panel right here, all the body work's done, ready to go. We just have to sand it down and get it ready for paint. We're also gonna be sanding down this door and blending it. Matching paint is very difficult, especially if a car is on the older side. And sitting outside in the sun and weather, the paint likes to fade. It's just gonna be a safer bet since we have to repaint this whole quarter panel just to blend it out to right here. So we're gonna be taking apart this door, getting the chrome off, getting the door handle off, sanding down this whole door, blending it out to about right here, and then adding a whole new coat of clear coat down there. Same thing with this quarter panel. The whole quarter panel is gonna be repainted and blended out to about right here. Clear coated all the way up top and all the way at the bottom. Back end's already done. We just have to put it back together, put this trunk on there, and get this thing ready to be painted. Quarter panel we're gonna be blending out, so we're gonna be blending out to about right here. There was a dent right here from the collision. I got that fixed in the last episode, so just a little bit of blending on this side have to do. And the last thing I need to repaint is this hood. Now this hood looks to be an okay shape. When you're outside in the sun, you don't see much of the damage. But pulling it inside, you can see a lot of dirt, a lot of weird ripples in it. It's just not a very good paint job, and if I have the extra paint, I'm gonna go ahead and repaint this as well. It's been really bothering me, and I want this car to be in really good shape before I sell it. Another issue I've been having with this car is that the AC is not working. It is not cooling off in here, and I need to check and see if it's the compressor or if it's low on Freon, see what it is, get that figured out, and get that on order if I need to order anything, because I really wanna get this done within the week. So we're gonna check that first. Now, I don't have any fancy tools to really test this AC out, but I'm gonna start it and see if that compressor even kicks on. If it's not kicking on, we know it's either the compressor that's bad or it's low on Freon. It appears to be kicking on. Not really a great sign. Usually means that compressor's bad. But I'm gonna check and see if it needs some Freon just to see. Do you hear that squeaking? It sounds like it's coming from the compressor. Yeah, I'm willing to bet it's that compressor. I'll go ahead and place that on order. That should have a pretty good gap right there. Get the paint in. This door is disassembled, ready for sanding. I removed this chrome strip, moved back this rubber molding, that way we can paint in here and not see any lines. This is gonna be sanded down with 600 grit sandpaper, and this is gonna be sanded down with 1000 wet sanded. Pretty much all the parts that I'm blending are gonna be 1000 grit, and everything else is gonna be 600 grit. Door sanded, quarter panel sanded, trunk sanded, all this sanded, The rocker panel sanded, the hood sanded, driver's side sanded, rocker panel of the driver's side, and the quarter panel. All sanded, ready to go. Pull it out and wash it. It is all ready to be taped up and prepped for paint. You may notice though that this door and this fender are sanded down now. And the reason for that is this fender was repainted before, and in the sunlight you can actually see a difference between that fender and this door because they did not blend it out whenever this whole front end got repainted. It wasn't super noticeable in person, but on camera you can really tell. I was debating back and forth and wondering if I had enough paint, but I think I can get away with it. So pretty much this whole side is gonna get repainted along with the hood. Also, these headlights were looking in rough shape, so I went ahead and sanded them down with 600 grit and 1000 grit sandpaper. I'm gonna tape over these for the base coat. Once I get the base coat laid, take that off, and I'm gonna clear these along with the rest of the panel. And that should restore them and make them look a lot better. Everything's all taped up. I even have all the door jambs taped up, windows all taped up. Everything that I don't want to get painted is taped up. Cleaned all the panels with Eastwood's pre-painting prep. One thing you want to do before actually painting though is wipe it all down with a tack cloth. This picks up all the dust and the little particles laying on your panels that you're gonna paint. As for the base coat, I'm gonna be using Eastwood's OEM Select. Order it online, ship it directly to your house. You'll have everything you need to paint your car on their website. Check it out if you want to. I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing ready, mixed up, and lay some base down. I have a little bit of an issue with the base coat. I'm gonna show you guys how to fix it. And to show you guys I'm not perfect, I make mistakes and everyone makes mistakes, and here's how to fix it. Overall, the base coat's looking good. I just had a couple little mess ups over here where the paint started to wrinkle. There's a couple reasons for that. One of the major ones is the paint underneath. There was a lot of primer and base coat and clear coat underneath this paint right here. So it had a little bit of a reaction and caused it to wrinkle. Also, I was a little bit impatient and put the second coat of paint on before this was dry. And that's actually what I think the real reason is why this wrinkled. How to fix that, you gotta wait for it to dry completely, and you can sand it back down with some 320 to 400, and I'm gonna go back over it with 600, make sure it's all even, and then that should fix the issue. No one's perfect, everyone makes mistakes. This is just something you have to deal with, especially painting a whole car in your garage, and you are not professional. I've done this quite a bit, but I'm still not professional, and I do make mistakes quite a bit. Still a little wet, but looks good. Paint looks awesome. I don't see any runs. There's minimal dust and specks in the paint. It's a really good paint job. I'm pretty happy with it. I don't know, it does look a little bit different. I don't know if the average person is going to notice it. Smashed. Brand new, used one. Hopefully. Having an issue with this sensor over here. This sensor tells you when someone's in your blind spot. Sensor mounts right here. The original one got broken in the wreck, so I went ahead and bought a used one, thinking it would work, but it does not because it's not the exact same one. This one ends with a F200, and this one ends with a F2001. I believe they have to be the exact same model for it to work and for the car to be able to read it. Having a little trouble finding this exact one in good shape. I found one that has a piece broken off. I'm just not sure because these things are very sensitive. I'm gonna keep looking, but for right now, I'm just gonna install this one back on. I'm gonna have a code on the dash until I get this fixed. So hopefully I can find one. And this is why you check. The plugs are different. Everything else is the same, but plugs, not. All right, it's in. A pain, like it always is. AC compressors are always a pain, just so you know. I ended up just swapping out the wiring harness from the new one to the old one and the old one to the new one. All I have to do now is vacuum it out and hopefully, please work. Oh yeah, ice cold. Yes. Oh, thank you. And with that last little bit done and cleaned up, this car is complete again. I'd say it's about 98% done. There's a few little things I need to fix and finish before I can actually sell this car. I bought a pair of aftermarket taillights and one of them came broken. The new one comes in here in a couple days. Once that comes in, I'll replace that. Also, I mentioned that blind spot sensor needed to be replaced with the correct one. I found the one I needed, I bought it, and it's gonna be here in a few days too. I'll have to remove that rear bumper to get that replaced, but hopefully that fixes the issue and gets that light off the dash. Speaking of lights on the dash, there is one more issue that might end up being a big problem. Hopefully it's not. And that light is the oil pressure light. I noticed that light on a little while ago. I was thinking maybe because the oil was low and it needed changed, it was about due for an oil change. So I tried not to think much of it. I ended up giving it an oil change, but the light was still there. It runs and sounds perfectly fine, so I don't think it's actually an oil pressure issue. What I'm thinking is it's the sensor. I did a little bit of research and that seems to be a common issue with these Hyundai Elantras. I ordered a new one of those and I'm gonna swap that out once it comes in and hopefully that fixes the issue. If it doesn't, then really bad news. Like I said, this thing runs and drives fine, so I don't think it's actually a big issue, but that light is a big concern and definitely need to fix that before selling it. And speaking of selling it, let's go ahead and break down the whole price point of this car, how much I paid for it, how much I paid for all the parts and everything that went into it, and give a breakdown of that. First off, I paid $3,000 for this Hyundai Elantra 2017 with 92,000 miles. Last episode, I broke down how much I spent at the junkyard, buying the quarter panel, the rear end parts. I broke down all that, but that was not everything I needed. I learned that I needed a few extra parts. I needed a few more pieces that I wasn't expecting for that front end because when I pulled off that front bumper, I noticed a lot of extra damage back there that I needed to fix and replace. So all those front bumper parts was $110 for everything I needed up there. I had to order that new blind spot sensor, that was $75. Also, I forgot to mention I needed a new backup camera for my trunk. That ended up being $40. The one that came with this used bumper did not fit my wiring harness, so I had to replace that. Also needed a new AC compressor, that was $150 for that. Also adding in another $150 for the random bits I had to buy, just a couple things I'm forgetting. And the last thing I needed, which is a major purchase, is all the paint I used. I needed base coat, I needed clear coat, I needed primer. All that added up to around $606. Paint is not cheap and that eats into your profit pretty big. So in total, everything it took to fix this car was $1,958. And that brings the total price for this whole car, everything I put into it, what I paid for it, all the parts, is $4,958. I will admit that was a little bit more than I was hoping to spend on this thing. I did end up having to buy a lot of extra parts that I wasn't planning on it. Also, I was hoping to find more parts at a junkyard, that way I could save money that way instead of buying brand new. A bit unfortunate, but that is the risk you take when you buy these wrecked vehicles and hope to flip them for a profit. Checking the comps in my area, this is a limited edition and that seems to be hard to find in my area. But the ones I do find go for around $7,000 to $8,000 to $9,000 to $11,000. I'm finding a lot of different prices and that makes it a little bit harder to judge how much I should ask for this. Looking at all the other lower end model Elantras, they go for around $5,000 or $6,000. That's just the base model and they are in rough shape. The seats are really messed up in them. They don't have all the features that this car has. So I do take that into account, but obviously this car has been wrecked before and I'm not gonna ask top dollar for that because that is a grimy thing to do. I make sure the person I'm selling it to knows the amount of work that went into it, everything that's happened to it since I've owned it. They know everything and hopefully they still understand that it's a good deal and it's a completely safe car. So after looking at everything online, checking the Kelley Blue Book value, I think a safe asking point would be $7,000 for this car. That seems to be $1,000 to $2,000 off of what this car normally goes for in perfect condition. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Is that a fair asking point? Am I asking too much? Am I asking too little? Take a look around the whole car. It is 8 years old, so it's not gonna be perfect in the first place, even if it wasn't wrecked before. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Comparing it to what it was when it showed up and what it is now, completely different change. I'm very happy with it. I learned a lot, and that is what this is all about. After breaking it all down, if I get that $7,000 asking point, that would be right around $2,000 in profit. That's not taken into all the work I put into it, all the hours I put into it. If I calculated all that into the cost, I would definitely be a fail and definitely be in a loss. But I'm learning and growing, and this is gonna be a good lesson to learn. Definitely overpaid for it. That's the lesson right here. That is it for this vehicle. I'm gonna fix those few little things I need to fix and then sell it. I will post it down in the comments below, how much I sell it for, the profit made, and everything down below in the comments. Also, I have an Instagram. You can check me out there. I post a lot of behind the scenes and upcoming projects that I'm gonna be working on. Check me out there if you want to. Also my email if you need to get a hold of me for any reason, right down here below. Thank you guys so much for watching and joining me on this whole journey of fixing and repairing cars and just building knowledge. Thank you guys so much, and I will catch you in the next episode. Bye.